Hi everyone, so this is going to be just a quick how-to video on how to use IXL. The first video that we're going to be focusing on is how to assign a topic or a skill, as well as how to track students' progress in real time. So I'm on the IXL homepage here, and the first place that you would go, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can assign a skill, but the first way you're going to do it is by clicking on Learning up here in the top left-hand corner. When we do that, it's going to auto come to the math section for me. But you can view it by grades, topics, there's weekly plans, you can follow in skill plans, which is something we'll look at in just a second. But if you notice, it has grades pre-K all the way through 8th grade, and then after 8th grade, it starts going by the different subjects that are there. So let's say, for example, I wanted to focus on Algebra 1. I'm teaching an Algebra 1 course, and I wanted to see the skills that they offered. So I would click on the skills button there for Algebra 1. And it is going to take me to this page. It breaks it down into every single one of the 406 skills into the categories that we think that they best fit into. So it starts off, it tries its best to go in order in terms of how the students would learn it or the level of difficulty. So it starts with some of the more basic concepts that kids should know, works its way down the columns, all the way down to, and all the way in the right-hand column, some of the harder topics that they are going to be covering. So you can scroll through based on the different topics to find different ones that you might want to assign to students. Or if you want to just kind of browse and see what's there, you can do that as well. When you hover over different ones, it will show you a preview of the types of questions that you could be getting asked, which is nice. And then this star button is how you assign, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So that's the first way that we can do it. The second way is by going to skill plans. And if you click on that right up here next to recommendations, you'll end up on this page. Now I have two already pinned that I use. I have our Algebra 1 textbook that it actually has our textbook for our district aligned here, as well as the Pennsylvania Common Core State Standards for math for Algebra 1. But you are able to go through any of the spotlights, state standards, all the different textbooks that are there, and even test preparation. For me, let's say I wanted to align it to our textbook. So I would click right there on Algebra 1, and it is going to bring me to the textbook skills alignment. So let's say I'm working on Chapter 6. I can click on there, and every section of the textbook, it gives me the skills and the topics that align perfectly with it that I would then be able to assign. And again, it shows the skills preview that you could click through to get an idea of the types of questions your students will be asked. So that was the textbook. Now the state standards, if I were to click on that for Algebra 1, that is going to take me to this page. I can look at the different sections that the state standards have for Algebra 1, or you can just scroll through, look at them specifically, and again, it gives you the different skills that align with it. The very last way that you can search or look for topics to assign is just by on the homepage up here in this search bar, I just typed in solving systems of equations. It gives you a list. I like to actually go ahead and search, because when I do that, what will pop up is kind of little thumbnails of what each one is. And I can then break it down by grade or subject. So if I want to just look at the Algebra 1 topics, I can do that. I can again hover over them and look at the different preview of the types of questions my students could be asked. So I had mentioned that when you go to assign one, you're going to use the little star. So you hover over the star. You can assign it to every single one of the students you teach. You can assign it to specific class periods, or even better, you can go within specific class periods and assign it to just certain students who need to focus on that skill, which is a really great tool that it has. Again, it tells you the students that you've suggested it to. When it then comes to viewing how students are doing, we want to go up at the top, we want to go over to Analytics, and when you click on Analytics, all the way to the right, there is a live option, and that live option allows you to see how students are doing in real time. It tells you the students that are there, how many have kind of paused what they're doing and worked on something else, how many IXL is recognizing needs help, how many skills are currently being practiced, and how many questions have been answered. So this kind of helps us to go through while students are working in real time to see in one place how they are doing. I hope this was helpful, and stay tuned for part 2.